Okay, so the iTunesU that I use in class with my History of the Americas, originally I started out using it with the Theory of Knowledge class, which is part of our IB program, because we needed to have a component of the Theory of Knowledge class in the junior year. So we were able to deliver that to them electronically through the iTunesU class. But what I realized in my History of the Americas class is that we had lots and lots of kids that had devices that were able to access the iTunesU, which was the free platform, as well as the kids that didn't have Apple devices had the ability at home to download the material through the iTunes application. So really the way that I've used it in class is putting materials out ahead of time for kids to read. I put copies of all my notes up there. If we show videos or clips of videos, I have all that up there for the kids to use. It's an easy way to send out links and websites and things that we're going to use in class so that the kids have it right there and I don't have to write it down on the board and they don't have to try to type it into a computer or their own device. They can just go right there and click on it. The way I've got class set up is that like little pods of 4. So almost always there's at least one person at the table that has a device that you can access the iTunesU. It's drastically cut down on my paper copies because most of the kids have an electronic copy. I still have some paper copies, but out of a class of total number of kids, maybe 50 kids over 2 sections, if I copy a 10-page packet that I sent out electronically, I might end up handing out 5 or 10 of those. So it's a huge cost savings on paper. And then part of the iTunesU classes, I use Turnitin.com. And so the kids are submitting a lot of materials electronically too. Either official assignments go to Turnitin.com and I can grade them there, and then the kids have access to all of them and they don't lose the papers. Or sometimes we use Google Drive and they'll turn things in that way, which again, that app works really well to be able to share things with me. If we're working in a group, they can share with one another. They've all got those devices and then they can share the end result with me. I found the process of setting up an iTunesU course really easy. You can go in basically from, I think, any web browser. I know I use Safari because it's Apple-based, but I think the website is coursemanager.itunesu.com. You basically just click an ad and name your class and put your name in there if you're affiliated with a school or a university, but you don't have to be. You can just upload your own and be kind of like an independent contractor. The nice part about it is if your school or university is affiliated with iTunesU, it's just you have to have like an administrator for the district, so Dan Vanastic does that for us. And basically all he had to do was verify with Apple that we were a valid school district and that we wanted to be listed and we were okay with being listed on iTunesU. So you can actually search for Portage Public Schools and you'll find both the iTunesU class for Theory of Knowledge and the History of the Americas. But once you have that set up, whether you've got the district or if you're just an individual class, you log in almost the same way that you would log into your iTunes account. And you can upload material, there's like a plus button, documents, links, files. It takes all different versions. So I usually put everything up in PDFs because I find for my students, regardless of the device or where they're accessing anything, the PDF will show up no matter what. When you start uploading Apple Pages documents or Microsoft Word documents, you're already excluding some of the kids that might not have that application and won't be able to open it. So for myself, I found that PDFs work really well for everything. Once you upload something once for the first year, it goes into kind of like a drive for your iTunesU class, and you can take it away and add it back again later. So that's really nice that your first year through using the course, you're uploading a lot of material. Then your next year, you're just simply going back and selecting and say, okay, now please post this one up again, and this one up again, and this one up again. In terms of the day-to-day interaction and how it works for the kids in the classroom, especially if like I'm not here, you can post assignments. And so you go in, you can type up the assignment, you can post it as an assignment, you can attach materials to it, and then the kids that have an iPod Touch, an iPad, or an iPhone will actually pop up with a notification on their splash screen that says Mr. Searing has just posted a new assignment to History of the Americas. And they just slide it like they would a text message. It'll launch the iTunesU application, and then right there they'll get the message from me for if it's the readings for the week, or if it's the prompt for the essay that's going to be due at Turnitin.com over the weekend, Or if I'm absent that day and this is the assignment and here's the website I want you to visit and these are my instructions. So now when I leave and I have a sub, most of the time my board just says, please allow the students to use their devices and access iTunesU, and everything they need to know will be right there. So it's really, really nice in cases like that. I would say the biggest notice change that I think in my own instruction and in the classroom is that I don't feel as pressured anymore to make sure that I cover every single slide in a slideshow that I'm showing, or make sure, if we have a video that we get interrupted because of a fire drill, or if it's a 60-minute video and we can only show 30 minutes of it in class, there used to always be that pressure that if we didn't get it done within the 45-minute period of the day, then I was going to have to come back to that and catch it up, because if it wasn't in the textbook, there was no other way the kids were going to get that material. And so the biggest change that I've noticed is that it's freed me up so that if we're discussing some slides and kids have a question and we go off a little bit of different direction, I'm not so worried about, boy, we really got to get through these next 6 slides or else you're not going to get this information, and then that's going to change what we're going to do tomorrow. So I think it's allowed for like a depth of discussion, and it's allowed us to provide more information to the kids, and then in class we can have more of the discussion that we can't have anywhere else.